Welcome to Oldsmobile 455, back at the shop, and all the parts have been painted, frame has been cleaned up, and now we're going to be greasing these up, putting the bushings in, and installing it, and then putting new springs in it and checking it for height. When you look at this silicone grease, it's not like Vaseline petroleum jelly. This is like, I mean, it's got some good stick to it. So it's supposed to hang around for a long time and not just bleed out when it gets wet or anything. This is going to hang in there. When you get it on you, it's a pain in the butt to get off. We'll spread this on liberally. Everything. Inside, out. Nothing worse than having a car that you've totally taken apart, cleaned up every item, put new bushings in it, and you think you're going to be driving your car like a brand new car, and somebody gets in, you're giving it a ride, and you don't even get around the block, and they're getting sick of it going squeaking away. A squeaky car is a pain in the butt, and everybody looks at it like, you know, something's broke or metal on metal. But a lot of times the guys put solid aluminum bushings or stuff in there that is for racetrack stuff and not for the street. It makes noise and
we're going to assemble this and just get everything on there close to being tight. These crimp nuts, we don't want to fight it in the car. The proper device to hold it this time. That's it. I try to get this in.
so after struggling with the bolts, and wiggling it in, using pry bars to get this thing lined up, and finally getting the bolts in, this is what it's like with no nuts even on it. It's tight. In fact, it was shaving a little of the rubber off as we were getting it in. So I mean, they got this fitting perfect. So we're about ready to do a job where we're going to put the spring in here after all the parts have been cleaned up. We're going to end up probably taking them in and out a couple times to get the ride height the way he wants it. So instead of wrecking our brand new ball joint, we took the old one. So instead of separating and wrecking our new one, we could just take it apart, put it back together. We might have to cut one coil, one half coil, and we just didn't want to destroy it, so we went back to the old ball joint. And this job is not a job that we really like doing, but when you're dealing with a compressed spring and then having to fit it up there and then get this back up, some guys aren't even the least bit afraid of it. I'm kind of scared of it. I've done it a bunch of times, but each time I do it, I mean, I've heard horror stories of guys getting hurt. So you can always see when the manufacturer makes a spring, it's really nice. You've got it ground level, sits nice in the pocket. This one's bent down. If we end up doing this cutting, you know, let's say if you just cut off half a coil, you know, it's pointing up in the air. Then it just comes down in that one spot. And, you know, we could put it in a bandsaw trying to cut it, or that's what we're going to be playing with, is popping this in and out a couple times. And he doesn't want the car sitting up like it's a 4x4. He wants it to at least be level.
Here the spring is under compression. Incredibly dangerous. Do not tap on this with a hammer. If you're going to put your springs in this way, suggest not putting your upper control arm stop in, because we didn't have enough downward movement to get this started in the steering knuckle. So we took it back out.
So right now we're at the situation of one spring installed at the stock length, and he's got a jack underneath the frame on the other side. there's a pretty substantial clearance here, and it's not like it's rock solid, so the spring tension is okay. We're gonna put the other one in and see how the thing sits, and we can drive it for a while after he even puts the other engine in it and everything. We can always go back and make it drop down if he wants it lower. And it's still a nice soft ride, it's just high.
Well, both the springs are in now. We even have a battery in here to simulate the air conditioning compressor once we put it back in. And she's riding a little high, but we're gonna have, this is a 225 tire, we're probably gonna have a 245 on here. And it's gonna settle in some. And we got, I think, 90 PSI of air in these air shocks right now to bring the back up as much as possible. Stance looks all right. This is a Moog 5030. It was the strongest spring Moog had for this car. What do you weigh, about 200?
No, I'm 180.
Yeah. Right there is probably,
We could fly it off jumps.
right there would probably be ideal, but it might settle down to that.
1, 2, 3.
So the car's sitting pretty level right now, and I think we're gonna end this video here, just drive this car around eventually, see how it settles in. So thanks for watching.